Welcome in, everyone. This is our flow recap for the week of 7/28 to 8/1. As always, we're going to look at the flow that was called out, take a peek at the raw flow as well, kind of for those that haven't read a lot of flow. This is a great video for learning. Just kind of look at the IV, the spot price, all that as well. And again, everything is called out in real time. Everything is always called out in our trading zone here, so a lot of this, everything's called out real time. I don't edit my posts or anything. So we're gonna first start off with VRT here because this was a flow and charts play, so we're gonna start out with that. So this was posted on 7:30 at night, so this would have been valid on 7:31. So I kind of wanted to show everybody how it was set up, kind of what I saw as well. So we had our large whale here coming in on the 9/19/120 puts, 51 days out, so we knew we had some time. A lot of net put premium there as well. When we looked at the chart here, almost had we had about a double top here. Could have been a triple top if it would have been a little lower here, but your RSI is also in the overbought territory. Price is also a little overextended from the EMAs as well. So let's get out of this and we're going to hop over to the chart here. So obviously you can see this play turned out pretty well for anybody that took this. And our entry, I need to pop back to the flow here. So that's how the chart looked. Obviously you would have had a great entry. You hit the top of that supply zone yesterday and big drop if you swung those. I actually closed those at the end of the day yesterday. Dropped out of that demand zones, and there was a kind of a lot of net call premium. Knew we had non-farm payrolls today, so kind of being smart there with that. So let's close out of that, and we're going to pop over to the flow here. So 3 days ago, you can see this was our whale entry here. Back on the 30th, you can see most of that volume carrying over. So now, again, really good example here. We had 7,200 contracts traded yesterday, and you can see most of those carried over. So we had a bid side candle here of 5,900. These were actually adds at the bid. So again, this is a great thing to show everybody why I like to match up with flow and charts, because not all bid side flow is going to be an exit, because you can see most of that carried over. So I got filled at about 163-ish on mine. I went with 159 here, and if you traded these and day traded them, they came up and hit about 205 at the end of the day. So it would have been a good little trade there intraday if you didn't want to swing them. If you did swing them, they obviously had a great return on the day, hit 405. So from our entry I have 159 to 405, that's a 154% return in 2 days. That is a great return there on the VRT flow and charts plays. For those that don't know, the flow and charts plays are my plays that I'm doing a full size in my trade as well. So I do scalp the flow that comes in, but I like having multiple data points when I'm entering a position at my full size. So that was our flow and charts play of the week. I don't post 1,000 of these. I'm very selective with my full position sizing. I'm also very selective with the flow that I post. So this is our flow for the entire week. I don't spam out 1,000 trades and cherry pick the winners. I actually recap everything that's posted. So let's continue on. Everything else is just kind of a flow alert now. So we'll kind of look at the raw flow per usual in our videos. So we have the 8/8 Intel 21 puts here. So coming back here on the 28th, let's pop this to the 28th. Oops, okay. New month. So we got to come back here. So we're looking at the 28th here. So this was our initial entry. You can see our whale coming in here. Not any volume before then. Looking at the 28th, obviously, that size there compared to that open interest, it's an opening trade. We look at this raw flow here. And again, you can see how this looks. That IV comes and increases. Spot price is coming in at the ask. Reads as a buy. And little pop on those right away, 50, and we kind of came up and hit 66 here. Seeing some more contracts traded here at 70. You're going to see on these kind of weekly, more highly traded contracts, you're going to see a lot of volume. I mean, you have a lot of volume coming in here. Not a lot. It looks like that will probably close some of these that same day because you don't have that full amount of volume carrying over. And you can see a lot of volume on that next day as well, and not a lot of that carrying over. So let's pop out to today just for fun. So we're doing the full range of the contract. I do this on the weekly. I would like to see the full week move. So again, here's your entry 50. These hit a high of 202 today. So that would be a 312% max return on those. So good flow there. Up next, we have the 1017 American Airline 11 puts. We'll pop back here to the 28th. Just like to show everybody how it looked when it came in. And you can see, obviously, 4,800 open contracts at the time. We had 30,000 come in. Clean opening trade. Rising that net put premium there. And when we come and look at the actual flow here, and you'll notice a lot of the flow is very identical from trade to trade because I have my rules when I'm following my flow. If it doesn't match, I just pass on it. So you can see these came in as a repeated hits flow alert. Coming in at the ask here, we're looking at the IV. You can see that IV increase here as we had a lot of size come in, a lot of premium, spot price increasing. This is what you call textbook flow. And then we have the floor trade here. And when we come and look at this, let's pop this out to Friday now. So here's your original entry. You can see we kind of chopped a little bit, ran a little bit same day, but then kind of down the next day. And then looks like your big move came here on the 30th. And then obviously we had a big gap down here on Friday. These hit a high of 89. So those from that 60 to 89, that's a 48.33% return. Obviously, the whale still has a lot of time on these. Seeing a big chunk of no side flow here, my guess is the 31,000 there and the 14,000 there, 44 plus 44. Probably something going on here. My guess they're probably, my guess is you're going to probably see that open interest drop a little bit here on Monday. So something to watch. That no side flow, we're obviously not going to be able to tell what happens with that until Monday, but probably a drop in that open interest. So up next, we have the circle puts here. This was our entry here on the 28th. This one's a little more messy, so I kind of want to just go back to the 28th again. So here's how our flow looked here. 194. Popped up right away, hit 308, and you were chopping near that high for a big chunk of the day. And it looks like that whale, if you come back to the 28th, can see a lot of that volume same day, some bid side candles here. Not a lot of that volume carrying over, so that whale probably closed these the same day here. And knowing it's a weekly, obviously they expired today. If you pop out again to Friday here, now that whale probably got out around, we were looking at like the mid twos, it looked like. These did end up making a big fall down, and you have a lot of volume here, so it's hard to tell, but we're looking at the max return on these. These closed 4% in the money and had a high of $9 per contract. I'm leaving it at $5.75. That's 112% return. That would be a massive return on 0 days, obviously. I'm not going to do the full math on that because that's kind of not 100% accurate because you're probably not going to hold those the whole week in there. So we're just going to go with the 575 there. 112% return on those. Up next, the 8-1 now 1025 calls. So we're going to pop this one out to Monday again. Actually, I want to pop these out to Tuesday because this is a great example. So here's your ask side entry here. Again, we're going to look at the flow. Just keeping an eye on that IV. Small little drop there, but it's only one contract, so not a big issue. Can see a small little drop again there, but come back up. Flow looks good, like a buy to me. Your entry here, 270. These actually gapped up and hit a high of 595 here on the 30th. Where's my 30th? Right here. I'm sorry, I was completely off there. These came in on the 28th, so I was sitting there looking at that. I'm like, hey, wait a minute here. I had to check my spreadsheet here, so sorry for that. Yeah, 270 was your fill. Gapped up here, hit 509, 595 with the bigger spread here. So that would have given you a 270 to 595. That's 120.37% return on those. And when we look at this, so back to the 28th, can see that volume carrying over. See a lot of that volume that next day, dropping that open interest. Whale probably passed these contracts off to somebody else and closed the rest. So you saw that drop in the open interest. So kind of a good example there. Take a peek at it, see how that exit probably looks. We'll see if we can find the exit in here. All right, so I see it in here. So can see that drop in that IV as that flow starts to come in here. Obviously, your spreads are a little wider here on the gap up, but drop in that IV. Let's see if we can find more drop in that IV. Drop in that IV. So they read as sells there. So that whale sold those to somebody else, closed their position. Obviously, again, looking at that open interest the next day, not there anymore. So again, good move on those, 270 to 595 for a high, 120.37%. Up next, we have the Nvidias here. These came in on the 30th. Make sure to get my day right here. So we're going to pop over to the 30th. And actually, sorry, we missed one. FXI before that. So FXI, this one, can't really recap this one fully yet. Here's your flow, 111. They're trading at 66 right now. That whale's down 40% right now. Obviously, a little longer term on those. And when we look at that raw flow there, let's pop down here. I mean, your IV's up, drops a little bit, comes back up, and increases more there. So if they read as a buy, obviously, with your whale a little longer term here, they're probably looking at a longer term move. Keep that in mind if you're looking at something 77 days out. The whale's probably not expecting them to move instantly. So that's what I like to always tell everybody. But whale would be down 40% on those right now. So now on to Nvidia here. So again, these ones coming in on the 30th. Let's pop this back to the 30th. So this is where we got in down here actually at 90, 31 was our entry, sorry. So these all came in here. So again, you can see a lot of that volume coming in here. And keep an eye on that volume. I mean, that is a massive amount that actually did carry over. So within here, I mean, you had, we'll say about 10,000 for each one. Then you have this big candle come here. So the cautious thing is, did this whale exit here at the ask and the bid? You won't be able to confirm that until tomorrow. So massive chunk of that carried over. So they probably may have sold some, may have kept some. But when you come to Friday here, we look at August 1st. Let me pop this back. So your entry here, actually 32 down in here or so. These actually ran the next day here. Hit a high of 90 on the 31st. So that's 190.32% on those. Another massive gain. So this next one was an actual accidental post. Here's your flow. This actually overlapped earnings. These did finish 4% in the money, but same day, 71, they actually ran up and hit 116. So if you didn't want to swing them over earnings, would have been able to get out with profits, but it's hit 289 on the 31st. It's 307.04% on those. Typically, I don't post earnings plays. That's just me misreading something and posting an earnings play. Up next, we have COUR, the 919.14 calls. So again, another reason why I always kind of tell people to manage your own trades, don't always follow the whales completely if they're down after a big run up. These actually came in at 40, and they ran up here and kind of chopped around that high of the day, around that 50 for a couple hours. And that whale's still in, but they hit a high of 55 on the day. So that's a 37.5% gain. Obviously, that whale still has some time on those. They're just slightly down now, but that's why I always say you can always adjust your stops up, secure profits, and recycle your profits if you get stopped out after bringing it down after you're in your trade. But good move on those ones. Take a peek at that raw flow quick. Let's come here. I always like to pop the results out. I like to look at the flow around the flow as well too, just so you can kind of get an idea. So just looking at that IV, I mean, you're coming in at the ask. IV's staying up. Flow looks good there. Did make a good move. So good little move on those. So 40 to 55, that's a 37.5% gain. I always tell people I look for at least 10-15% minimum on them. If you're up 15%, 10%, you should at least have your stop set at break even. 10%, 15% consistently is very good for a trader. So up next, we have the 9.5 TSM 240 puts. Great move on these ones as well. Again, we're going to look at the raw flow here. Obviously, you can see huge size, huge premium coming in here. Looked good there. Kind of chopped that same day here. Ran up a little bit towards the end of the day, and then you had your big gap down today. 14.25 for a high. That's 75.93% on those. So a good example. If I'm up 75%, I'm either securing some profits or setting a stop and taking some off the table. I'm not going to swing these over the weekend. I don't care how much time I have on them. Securing profits up 75%, that's a great return. Again, these finishing 2% in the money. Another one, PDD, making a great move here. Flow coming in at 93, hitting 258 for a high today, finishing near the high, close towards the high of the day. Kind of rallied a little bit towards the end. So 177.42% on those. eBay, good move on those. So this is a great example of why you should always be adjusting up your stops too. Here's your whale entry, 118. Kind of moved up a little bit same day, closed about 149. Gapped and we hit 255. It's 116%. And if you would have held these and you're just watching this whale the entire time, you're watching your profits erode here because these finished at 75. That whale entry again was 118. You can't let that happen. You don't know what this whale is doing or what other trade they have going on. This is why you got to always kind of manage your own trades as well. But 118 to 255, that's 116.10% on those. AVGO, the 88295 puts. This is probably going to be an exit at the ask, so we'll see on Monday, but 1,059 contracts, 589. We'll look at that raw flow feed. Come in here, take a peek. Again, you can see that IV spike right when that flow comes in. Spots filling at the ask. Flow looks good. Some little contracts after here. Obviously, you can't 100% know, but just kind of looking at that timing here, you can probably assume it's part of that trade, and you can see that IV kind of spiking there. So, looked good there. Obviously, big move this morning, hit 1530. Have about 1,000 contracts coming in at $12.99. Don't know for sure if the whale's exiting until Monday when the open interest updates, but 1,021 contracts, 1,059. Probably an exit at the ask. Won't know until Monday, but we'll see. And especially with them being 7 days, Theta is going to be aggressive, and they are 2% in the money as well. So up next, so the next chunks of flow are what kind of came in today. I'm going to kind of not dive too deep into them. Obviously, flow that just came in today probably isn't going to make a huge move right away, but we'll just take a quick peek at it. BMY flow came in, dropped a little bit, closing at 74 from that 81. That whale's down 7.5% on those. BA, these could have been sells at the ask, 164, closing at 64, so that whale's down 60% on weeklies. SPY calls, so this one, 172, they dropped a little bit, came back up, hit 195. Knowing that these are weeklies, I would probably have my stops up on those, because at 172 to, what is this, 195, it's about a 13% trade, and knowing their weeklies and theta's aggressive on them, could probably take some profits on something like that. AES, the 919.14 calls. This flow is actually really textbook flow, so I kind of want to show everybody that may not have seen it posted on X either. Give you a chance to get in. IV's increasing all the way up. Spot price is increasing on the way up. Flow looks textbook. Net call premiums are up. Obviously, whale's a little longer term on those, so again, do whatever you want with this information, but whale's still in. A lot of volume. Big majority of that should carry over into Monday. But that whale is down 24% on those right now. Tesla, we got it on this candle here, the 483s. Small little pop to 523, but contracts trading at 417. Whales down 14% with some time. And then we have target puts. These came in at 102, hit 109, kind of chopped around that 110, 111. Nothing super major. Closed at 98, so that whale's down 3.92% with time. So a lot of great flow this week, actually. So again, keep in mind this all came in today up here, so sometimes it doesn't make a move right away, but very good week. I always tell people I'm very selective with the flow that I do post. I don't post 1,000 pieces of flow. I don't cherry pick flow and all that. We recap everything. And also, if you're interested, Unusual Whales is running a sale right now too until August 4th or 5th, I think. I think it might be the 7th actually, but if you want to try it, great platform, just need some filtering to set it up. I mean, that's it. I use the platform for everything, and you can even trade out of the platform if you do have Tasty Trade as well. But really great platform, and again, all the flow I post is called out in Stock Hub. Very affordable Discord to join. Everything's recapped. Great community full of people. But I'll leave both links at the bottom of the description. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll be back again with some more flow next week.